it was about the dogs. Nah, it's about power. Yeah. Would have put a specialty, sunrise on the ground. Dogs in the grooming tents, whispers all around. Catalog smiles with the tension in the air. Every handshake got a hidden little snare. Bored in the back room, running quiet little schemes. Bylaws in the pocket like a stack of poker dreams. Players for the breed, but they guarding their throne. If you question anything, they coming for your bone. Grievance in the envelope, certified mail. Club justice system, but the deck.
Well, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to tell you a little bit about history. So we're going to start out with Ed Hodis and the history of how the litters all came to be and who all started in the breed. So this is going to probably ruffle a little bit of feathers because, well, nobody likes the truth. And so what I'm going to do is start out with how Ed Hodis, who's considered the true godfather, I guess, of the breed, or who they consider the godfather of the breed, met Mike Satilli, who is the perpetrator of the breed, the one who supposedly, the myth is he brought dogs over from Italy and made the American lines here. So this is the history behind that. So supposedly he met him, and these are his own words. He met him in 1975 because he was a boxer, or he was a fighter, and Mike Satilli liked, he was a boxing enthusiast. And so he went to one of his fights, or I hope you all can read this. So I tried to make it large enough that it's readable so that we can follow along. Anyway, they developed a friendship, casual friendship over boxing and stuff like that, but they lost contact for many years. So it wasn't until 15 years later that he ended up getting into Corsos. And how he got into Corsos was he ended up meeting Mike Satilli's son, and that's what this picture is. And this is Kokomo, the famous Kokomo. And this here, if you can see my mouse, this here is Ed Hodis taking a bite from Kokomo, and this is Mickey Jr. holding Kokomo. Well, he's tied to a tree, but he's holding him back with another leash here, and he's taking a bite from him, and he's explaining that he went to a show and it was the Champion of Champions, and to make a long story short, he seen this magnificent specimen come out, and it was that's how he got introduced to the Connie Corsos, and it was the famous Champion Kokomo. And that's what this dog is here. Immediately following the show, they searched out the owner, who happened to have a pup off of Kokomo with him. And that's when they bought, him and Christy bought their first one, which was Rocco. And that was in 1991. So he got into Corsos in 1991. And later on, he ends up buying Kokomo. And I think it was like a year later, but he ends up talking Mickey Jr. into selling him Kokomo, but he ends up buying Rocco. And so this is him taking a bite from him as well. And this renewed his friendship with Mike Sr. And so they go to Italy, and there's another article where he, here's Kokomo again, where he goes to Italy with, this is Mike Sr., where he does, and this is Ed Hodis and Mike Sr., where they visit Italy and look at litters and puppies and dogs and stuff like that, and actually import dogs from Italy. But this isn't until the 90s. So you have to understand timeline wise. So even though Mike Satilli, oops, sorry, I need to share this tab. So this is Kokomo again, and then here's Mickey and Ed Hodis looking at puppies. So and here's a Corso with some ducks and chickens in Italy. This is actually in Italy. And here is Ed Hodis actually showing Midnight. So if we go back to sharing the screen, trying to do this as smooth as possible. So you have to understand that this is in 1991. So when we're looking at this, we have to look at the timeline. So the first litter that was imported was in 1988 from Mickey, or from Mike Sr. And then the second litter was born in 1989, third litter is in 1991. So the first litter born in the United States is 1990, and that was Santano and I'm trying to pronounce these names, Beduza, and Linda Valentine is the one who actually bred that litter. Second litter was in January of 1991, and that was Santano and Malachia. And that litter was, the breeder on that litter was Linda Santano. Then in 1991, in June, was Kokomo and Aurelia, and that was Mike Satilli's litter. So if we're looking at the timeline, Mike Satilli wasn't a breeder until 1991. So when we're looking at breeders who actually, and Ed actually says this in here, in 1988, Mike brought the first litter back from Italy. He was met that night by a friend, Linda Santano, from Diamond Kennels, and later she became one of the original breeders of Cane Corsos. But her first litter was in 1991. And that litter was Santano and Maloccia. It's Malloccihia. Sorry, getting tongue twisted here. And I will show you the litters. So this is the Super 6, the first litter born in 1988. And these are the dogs that came out of that litter. And there was actually more puppies. There was 13 puppies that were born, but these are the Super 6. And here are the dogs. So this is Kokomo, Duro, and And Duro is actually, this is Duro. So you can see here the date is 19, oh, hang on, I gotta, oops. So here is the date 1988. I just scroll this in so you can actually see it. So it's Duro di Alarak, and that's of Alarak. But these are this is the pedigree. Of this dog, but here's the picture that they have. And you can see that he was born 8/22 of 1988. So then if we go back to, we have Champion Bella, and then we go down to Bruno, and this is the name of that one that I was talking about, the litter that Linda Santano did. So it was Santano and this name right here, Malachita. This was the dog that was used. And then Tori. And then the second litter in 1988 was Serafina and Pippin New. And these were the dogs out of it. So this is Santino and Serafina. And this is her at 7 months, as you can see in the picture. But it doesn't show any of don't have pictures for Serafina, Alderac, or Taro, or any of those in this setup. And then the third litter that was born in 1991 was Sarah to Argentino. And this is Midnight, and this is Ed Hoda's showing Midnight. And these are the dogs here out of that litter. And these are the first 3 litters that were born. So as you can see, in 1990, they were bred by Linda Valentine, not Ed Hoda or not Mike Satilli. The only dogs that were born by Mike Satilli was Kokomo and this litter right here. And that's from Ed Hodis. Ed Hodis is stating that. So this is Champion Gold. This is the one that's in almost everyone's pedigree. If you go back and look at everybody's damn pedigree, this dog's in everywhere. And so then it talks about him going around and filming the open book, and then being appointed to Asachi, and then forming the ICCF and all that stuff, and how they did all that. But then it also, you have to look at all these dates, right? So then you have, and this is where it's going to get controversial, because you have Mike Satilli meeting Ed in 1975, then importing litters in 1988, 89, 91, all that stuff. Then Mike Satili's son, selling Ed Hodis in August of 1991, champion Kokomo or Rocco, and then later buying Kokomo. Mickey or Ed Hodis, buys Rocco. Begins that in 1991 begins his involvement in the breed. In 1992, he travels to Italy with Mike, helps found the ICCF Foundation, and this is where it starts to go. So you have this issue, and I'm going to play this because. First of all, I love this interview. This interview is the greatest interview. It's with Tony Scandy, but you should go to NWA, Connie Corso's, and watch this interview because Tony demolishes David. But you should watch this because it's epic. But I'm playing a clip of this because Tony absolutely says this in almost every clip that he puts out there everywhere.
A long time ago. See, like I told you, I've been doing this 37 years, right? 10 years longer than you.
Yeah, can I ask a question about that? The property and the farm.
Listen, let me tell you a story from a long time ago. See, like I told you, I've been doing this 37 years, right? 10 years longer than you.
Yeah, can I ask a question about that? The 37 years?
10 years.
And the farm.
Listen, let me tell you a story from a long time ago. See, like I told you, I've been doing this 37 years, right? 10 years.
Okay. So he says that in every clip. He is very proud of that 37 years. The problem is that this is Tony's first dog. Can you see this? Oops. This is Tony's first dog. Do you see the date on this? 9/12/1994. And he bought it from Ed Hodis. This is the pedigree. Now, I was married in 1994, and I was married 9/16 of 1994, so I know how long ago that was, and that was 32 years ago. I understand that he's saying 37 years, and maybe he is forgetting the time, or he's fudging the numbers a little bit because he wants to believe that he's been in it that long or whatever. But this was Tony's very first dog. And this is the date the dog was born. So he didn't get the dog in 9/12/94. He got it 8 weeks later. So he still got it in 94. But he's not been in it 37 years. Not only that, but this is Tony's very first ad. And I'm going to share it with you now. So this is Tony's very first ad, and this is his dog that he got from Ed Hodis. I love how blacks and tans and blues and tans are acceptable. Not desired, but they're acceptable. And here is Fredo. Now, this ad, although says 1995 in that one little area, I can tell you when this ad was actually put out, and it was around 97. And the reason that I say that it was put around 97 was because Fredo was 3 years old. This is the dog. Here's Fredo. But because this bitch eight-month-old Scandifios, Sasha, is Shauna DeMoss's second dog that she bought, and she bought it from Tony. And I'll prove it to you. And here's her. Here's Sasha. And her birthday was 2/14/97. And this is Shauna's dog that she bought from Tony. And this is her pedigree. So Shauna bought her very first dog, and I can't remember if it was from Ed or if it was from Derek, but she bought her very first dog 6 months after Tony bought his very first dog. And then she purchased Sasha from Tony in 97. So Derek Matson bought his very first dog in 92. So it goes Ed, Derek, Tony, Shauna. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know why there's this controversy about who is the godfather or who has been in it longer, or why people have to fudge numbers or who's been in it longer, because you can literally check the pedigrees to find out who's been in it the longest and who has the pedigrees. You can literally check. And the thing is that we absolutely know that there was a time, there was a time that Tony wasn't in dogs for a little while, also because we know that the Bureau of Prisons showed that he was locked up. And I'm not really sure on the date that he went in, but by his his prisons of bureau number, a Bureau of Prisons number, we know that he got out. He was released from custody on 7/27 of 99, but I don't know when he went in. So from 97 to 99 or 98 to 99, if he was in for a year or 2 years, whatever it was, a year and some months, we know that he was released from custody 7/27 of 99. So at some point, he wasn't breeding dogs. And I do know that if you ask Joe Haborka, his wife did call at one point and say, can you come get some of these dogs? Because she couldn't handle them while Tony was locked up. So there is a little bit of that controversy. So how many dogs did he have? How many dogs did he have left when he got out of prison? What was he breeding? All that stuff. So did he have to start over with kennels? Is that why? Because there are some dogs that are, I'm trying to look, hang on a second. Because Callie, his one bitch, is a black and tan. I'll look it up. Hang on one second. I thought I had it. It must have closed out a bit. But his one bitch is a black and tan. So is that when he started over his lines and said he had to clean it up? But at one point he was breeding, and as you can see from his because if we look at his I must have, oh no, is that one? Yeah, that one. Because if we look from his, yeah, Callie. See, if we look at Callie, she's got tan legs. But this is the bitch that Shauna bought. But if you look at these ages, right? And this was in 97. If you look at the ages of these dogs, they're 7 months, 8 months, 2 years. The longest he has is 3 years old. 3 years old puts him at 94. And this first dog being 94 from Ed Hodis. Can you read all that? So I'm just saying that, like we need to be honest about like the number, like the truth of when we've been in it, how long we've been in it, what we were actually breeding. And I mean, I absolutely love that he destroyed David in it, in that clip of on Joe's podcast, because what he said on temperament wise and stuff like that is absolutely true. But you have to be honest on what you were absolutely breeding as well, because even in your own write-up, you have that blacks and tans were acceptable. Black and tans, I mean, it's right here, color. Black and tans and blue and tans are acceptable, not desired. I understand that. But when you also are saying you've been in it for 37 years, I was married in September of 94. That's only 32. So where are the extra years coming from? I mean, just be honest with the years. When you can sit down and there's enough information to actually prove these things. Because when you put yourself out there, you're actually going to get people to go, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. I can actually look at pedigrees. I can actually look at when things are coming up, because I can stop sharing and show. This, and you can scroll down and see the dates. And if I don't have anything that goes back 37 years, when your name is in here a million times, there's got to be a reason. You know, like, we have to start being honest. We just have to, we have to start telling the truth and stop keeping the myth alive, and stop, we have to just tell the truth on what is real and what is not. I mean, if we're going to tell the truth on some things, we have to tell the truth on all things. Here's that Callie bitch. Oh, why won't it let me pull up a bigger picture of her? Oh. You can barely see it. It's got a lot of hidden grass. See, she's in tall grass to hide all that rust markings. But yeah, I mean, so, we just have to, be real honest with the public and just stop trying to deflect or to stop, But even if you look at her, I mean, so his name's on everything, but his name's here, not here, 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 here. I mean, where did she come from? I mean, when you look here, look, he's Scandafino, 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 because this is his breeding. These are all his dogs. But when you go back to something that's that old, when you're going back to something that's 1997, it's just one. That's it. And that's where you have to go, well, let's just be honest. But I wager to say it's because no one's ever taken a look. No one's ever said, oh, this dog's just, this is out of Ed. This is out of Ed, and whoever these people are, Masterpiece, and then unknown. You don't know who these dogs are, but his name's on it, because we're just putting our name on a dog. So that's what we're doing. But these are all Ed, and then, whoever. And I find it hard to believe that we have these dogs. So all these dogs came from Italy, But then we have all these unknown. We don't know any of these dogs. It's just odd. But yeah, I just wanted to like come on and kind of give the breakdown of where these dogs, like the lineup of who actually was in the breed and when it all started here in America, when you have Derek Matson, you have Shauna, because you have to be on one side or the other, right? You're either in the middle where everybody looks at you and goes, "Oh, who are you with?" And I'm with nobody because I don't really give a shit. I have no dog in this fight. But everybody always says, "Oh, you're either on Shauna's side or you're on Tony's side," because you either have to pick a side. But the thing is they both started at the same time, virtually at the same time, and Ed passed away. I mean, Mike Satilli passed away in 94. That's another thing that's weird too, right? So, everybody says, oh, the whole Mike Satilli lines, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Well, he passed away in 94. And so most of these people got in 94. The only person that got in before that was Derek Matson and Ed Hodis. They were in 91 and 92. So you have to go, well, who's being real and who's being fake? And let's be honest. So if everybody got their dogs from Derek and Ed, well, then you got Satilli lines, unless you imported a whole lot. And then if you look at what Ed Hodis said in this article, he said that when he went over there, that they attended a dog show on that trip, and he remembers seeing what American fanciers referred to as the rustic type in the Italian shows, and they were they were heavy bone, and the stops that were they were exactly what he and other breeders at home were striving for. But then he went back a few years later, and they were different. And they were overexposed. And if it was up to him, the Corso wouldn't be this is Ed Hodis here. They wouldn't even been in AKC. They would have stayed in the rarity breeds. Oh, you probably can't read that. There. But, of course, then, they believe that they had the better Corsos, and this is what he said. They were way too overexposed. Popularity that will accompany AKC recognition. I'd rather have them stay in the rare breeds and be quiet than everyone knew what everyone was doing. Now it's just exploded. And he also didn't like that everybody imported with irregularity. So, I think that, a lot of people, they look at, I think they look at how much the years that somebody's been in the breed and think, oh, but that gives them credit or that makes them an expert or whatever. But what if they're lying about the years? Or what if they're fluffing the numbers? And I'll give Tony credit. He knows a lot about the breed. And I don't think that he'll, how do I put it? Because it's going to cause controversy, and that wasn't my point. I was saying that we all just need to be honest on what it is, right? If you've been in it for 32 years, why say 37? Because in my opinion, if you're going to lie about something as stupid or fluff the numbers about something as stupid as how long you've been in it, well, what else are you fluffing? What else are you stretching? What else are you doing? Because if you can't be trusted about the numbers you've been in it, then I feel like you can't be trusted about a lot of things. So the whole point is just be honest. The whole breed is all around secrecies, lies, and the least amount of transparency. And I think just if you're going to tell the truth about what was added into the breed, what was this, why not just be honest about the years you've been in the breed? And this was your very first dog. And your very first dog was born in 1994. Simple. And I don't understand why that's such a big thing. And it was by Ed. So now, if I'm wrong for some reason, and the information is wrong, and this wasn't your very first dog, show me proof. And I'll recant my statement. But as it shows, this is your very first dog. There isn't anything that goes back further than this dog. And it should be easy enough to prove. You should be able to prove that you've been in it longer than Ed Hodis, than Derek Mattson. You should be able to prove that you've been in this breed for 37 years. Because you should have papers on the dog. I mean, I still have papers on my very first Corso. I still have papers on my very first Doberman. So it's like, it just doesn't make sense. But if you can't prove it, then why lie? It doesn't make you sound better that it's 32 versus 37. It doesn't mean like those 5 years gave you any more experience than not. 32 is still a good amount of years. And the thing is that it's still everybody's pedigree. I mean, your dogs came out of everybody else's pedigree. Just I mean, everybody that bought back then has the same pedigree. So I don't understand what the big deal is, which begs the question why. And does it make it that big of a difference that it's more than Derek? That much more than Shauna, since Shauna only bought 6 months prior or 6 months after? Do you want to be more than Ed Hodis? I mean, I'm not really sure why the difference and why it's such a big deal and why it's continuously said in every stream. Or maybe he just forgot. Or maybe it just feels like that long. I mean, 32 years is a long time. So maybe an extra 5 years is like just his thing, but he says it with such conviction. But it's kind of like the 300 champions. I don't know. I guess I just wish that he'd just talk about the dogs and not about the made up things, because it makes you question everything. If you're supposed to be what everybody dubs you as, the Godfather, when you're obviously not, then why not just talk about the dogs and what the dogs should be doing, what they should be looking like, what they should be acting like, what people should be looking for, not just boasting about your lines, your dogs, your time in the breed, which is obviously, from what I can find, not truthful. I just wish people would be honest. Honest in this breed. Because if more people were honest, this breed would go a lot further. It seems like everybody just wants to be somebody powerful and all over the world and known for something. And it's the more that people exaggerate, the more that it makes you question everything about this breed. And there's so much information out there that it can be found so easily. I don't know. It's just a question I had. I just wonder why this breed is like this. It's so secretive and so gotta make up so many stories, and everybody has to have all of these secrets and lies and weird things. Why can't people just tell the truth? If you do want a good thing to go watch, though, you should go watch Joe's channel and watch this thing. He does do a good job of really shooting down Dave. I wish he'd do more of that, where he, like, because he really shot him down on the way the temperament, that Dave wants this temperament. I wish he didn't want that. And just tell the truth. And what the temperament's really supposed to be like. Because even Ed Hodis said, and Christy Hodis said, that when they first got the Corsos and stuff like that, they had to get rid of them. They had to give them away as pets because they were bad. You can read the articles. There's an article in Modern Molosser, where they talk about they had to give them away because the temperaments were so bad that they just weren't good to keep. I mean, that's a scary thought, that they were just so horrible. And people were breeding that. The fact that they were giving them away is passing the buck. They should have put them down. I will agree with Tony on that. You should never give a bad temperament to anyone as a breeder. But, you know, it's back in the 90s. It's not like people today. But I don't know, it's kind of disheartening to see all this stuff that goes on in this breed, where you just kind of think, you know, people lie about health testing, they lie about temperament, they lie about the smallest things. Like, why lie about the smallest things? I mean, really, what is 32 years versus 37 years? Why is that a big thing? Like, I can't wrap my head around that. I don't know if he just wants to be like the number one person in the breed. Or if he, I mean, maybe he honestly just forgot how many years he's actually been in the breed. I mean, that could honestly be a thing, I guess, that he honestly just thinks he's been in the breed that long. And maybe he just says 37 because he honestly just thinks he's been in the breed that long. I mean, I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, because maybe he's just like, nah, it's been 37 years. He just says it so much that maybe he just believes that. I just see a lot of comments that everybody's like, when you read all the comments in this comment section, they're always like, oh my God, would he shut up about how long he's been in the breed? We all know by now. And I was like, has he been in the breed that long? But I mean, it's easy enough to look up. It's just weird. It's kind of like his 300 champions, like I was saying. You know, people were like, how many champions does he really have? If you think about 300 champions in 32 years, that's not, I mean, that's a lot. If he's had a lot of champions in each litter. If he's only had a few champions, that's a lot of puppies. So it's kind of bragging rights, but not bragging rights, depending on how many litters he's had. So I don't know. It's kind of a double-edged sword. Kind of makes you look like a puppy mill on one side, and on the other side depends on how many champions in each litter you've had. I don't know. Just kind of the rhetoric sometimes, I think, gets to people. But I don't know. But it's just an opinion. I just see it a lot in the comments. Maybe it's just because he's proud of what he's done. I think people just go to him to look for advice. Instead, they get how much he's done. Boastfulness. It was a good interview, though. Anyway. That's all I have for today. I'll be back Friday for a different reaction. Probably a funnier one. This one I was just trying to explain the main characters in the breed and how long they've been in the breed. So Shauna's been in for 31 years. Tony's been in for 32 years. Derek's been in it for almost 30 years. Or over 30 years. Because Derek's been in it since 92. So he's been in it for 30. Oh shit, longer than that. $34 years. I don't know. Derek's been in it the longest out of the ones still alive. Still can't breed a dog though. So I don't know. I don't know what the hell Derek breeds. Maybe it's still that Mike Satilli stuff. With a mixture of, I don't know what the fuck. Anyway, that's all I got for today. So I will be back Friday for some fun and laugh and joke. We should have a good time. I hope you enjoyed today. Thanks for joining. And I will see you later.
Man, club just a system, but the deck's set to fail. You speak for transparency, they call it a crime. Next day, you suspended for 6 months of your time. Pedigree, politics, trophies on the wall. Vanity awards while the ethics take a fall. They say it's for the free, but we know what it is. Power in the clubhouse, silence in the pit. Pedigree, politics, ribbons and lies. Smiles at the banquet, but the truth in disguise. You can muzzle the voice, but the truth don't quit. Dog show, kingdom built on counterfeit grit.